What's going on? Guys, can you believe it? We got a good trade today. It's crazy. I never thought I'd see the day. Somebody was asking me a good question about this trade. By the way, obviously this looks like the market maker sell model, so I'd imagine we complete down here. Right? So keep an eye on that. We'll also take a look at 4 hour, 1 hour inversed. So I guess as long as we're still holding this 1 hour gap here, order flow is bullish. And if we inverse that, order flow will become bearish to this low. So kind of where we're at right now. Let's look at the 15 and 30 minute. Yeah, I mean 30-minute gap held, so I guess we can say we're bearish here. We inverse that to the downside right then. So yeah, bearish to the low makes sense. I won't be taking a trade until FOMC comes out. I'm probably just going to try and take the OSFL setup and that be it for today. But yeah, I mean, this looks pretty obvious to the low. So maybe we get like a good, I don't know, confirmation setup maybe. So far, there just hasn't really been one. We had this 1 minute short that triggered. But yeah. All right. What time is news? 2. Wow. Okay. So yeah, this thing is really moving. I think it's pretty obvious we're sell model. Um, why FOMC has the dot plot released today? That's usually when the release wicks or goes one direction. Yeah, no. I figured today would be a pretty significant FOMC since it's like the end of the quarter one, and it's like big rate decision FOMC. There's going to be a lot of questions asked about the September rate decision. So expect big news from today. Um, Appreciate it, Alex. Welcome to the dark side. Yep. So yeah, as of right now, 30 points to the low, continuing to create equal lows here. I think chasing here is a little bit risky because we kind of left behind this huge candle now, which is just one big inefficiency. So what I think would be smarter if you're gonna try and chase is just wait for price to fill this in before heading lower, at least getting the IO fed if anything. But me, I'm just gonna watch it play out because I'm not gonna take any trades prior to FOMC. It's gonna be pretty high impact, so we'll watch it play out. But yeah, bearish until the low, and then we'll probably go neutral. We'll watch 2 o'clock here, see if price inverses the 1 hour gap. If we inverse that, I'll assume higher time frame order flow is bearish. However, if FOMC tells us otherwise, then that's going to matter more. I had somebody DM me asking me a good question about this second long this morning. I understand why some of you might not have taken the first long because we're, longing into bearish 2 minute gaps or whatever, right? But the idea here for this long would be like, okay, we see price becomes very bullish. I'm not sure why my 1 minute chart looks like that. Let me try and refresh real quick. Is this just how the 1 minute chart looks? I didn't remember it looking like that this morning. This is a bug. But anyway, the idea behind this long is like, okay, bullish reaction to sweeping the lows here, good reaction of the new day, and then just V shape. If you miss this initial long, definitely take this setup here. The reason why is because with this setup, if we're expecting this to be our Judas swing, right, where we come down and grab the lows, because we've generated liquidity overnight, we have London highs, we have whatever, right? Obviously not true London highs, but like this high here, at the close of London session. Um, if this is our Judas swing down and we're expecting an up move here to be our actual move up, then at 10 o'clock, if we don't get our reversal during the macro like we're expected, and we start to violate bearish PD arrays when we should respect them if we're getting a 10 o'clock reversal, this is your sign as well as the momentum of this candle that we're bullish, right? This is a 23.1 minute candle. So when we get this, this is a no-brainer trade to take, even though technically this gap isn't significant. Because here we have bias, we have momentum, and we have time. So you don't need that perfect model, right? So when you have this much momentum, you can just take the setup and then target this high here, right? Or however high you want to target. Because technically, right, if we're expecting 10 a.m. to be our reversal time, then why would we start violating bearish PD arrays and making higher highs? Right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. If we're going to be bearish, right, and this is our 10 a.m. reversal, we should not see price, come down here, retrace, tap into a gap, and then get a bullish reaction to that gap. We should just see price, reverse. So if you held past this high, good job, because there was good targets left for us to hit here. And yeah, that's kind of what I did is I took the initial long here and then scaled at the high and then jumped back in here and ran it up to this high. Where was your initial break even? Initial break even for this trade is going to be the high inside the gap. And then you just got to get lucky there and hopefully get a good enough fill where, this wick down doesn't hit you. But yeah, this is A+. I mean, liquidity sweep here. Good, 3 candle pattern there where we inverse the gap. So, yep. So yeah, we're starting to stall here. This is pretty typical for price, heading towards liquidity. If we leave inefficiencies behind, price is going to want to address those inefficiencies before heading to the low. And so that's why I said here, if you're going to chase, it probably makes more sense to wait for this inefficiency to get filled in before, trying to target the low. So maybe we get like a confirmation setup here. This 30-second, for example, would be our first potential confirmation setup here after the dump. Now, I won't be taking this because we're too low in discount. We don't have a good enough draw in order to take a shortened discount here. And we have FOMC at 2. However, I do think that this type of trade would work for at least a break even, if not to the low. Yeah, I'm bearish right now, Vert. Yep. Yeah, this looks like pretty textbook market maker sell model. We inverse the 30-minute, respected this one above. So kind of where I'm at right now is where Dodgy was at yesterday. While we're between these two gaps here, the 1 hour here and the 30-minute, I'm probably going to be, bullish from these lows and bearish from these highs. However, since we've inversed so much bullish PD arrays here, I believe that it makes sense for us to hit the low, or at least, get an SMT. So now we have a 1 minute gap forming. We've came back, we filled in the inefficiency that I wanted. So now if we were to reverse here, that would make more sense than if we were to just, slam down to the low, right? Because whenever we form inefficiencies above, those become kind of conflicting draws. So maybe what we'll see here is we'll see this 15-minute gap get put in, and then we will take a short from there, and maybe that works. Let's see if this 15-minute aligns with 50. So it doesn't really align with 50 here, so we don't have to worry about a full-fledged retracement to 50 here. We can just probably expect an IO Fed if we form the gap. If not, and we get like a 2-minute gap here, then I guess that would work for an inverse as well. I wouldn't really be concerned with the 30-second because the 30-second here, what does this 30-second tell us about order flow? Anything? Yeah, not really, right? We didn't really create history. So if we get this 2-minute inverse here, we should just expect price to go to the low. For the first trade, sorry if you already explained, but I understand that we souped the low and bounced off a end dog, but should the higher time frame bearish gaps really not matter as much? Yeah, so basically the way that I think about order flow is anytime price takes out liquidity or taps into an inefficiency, essentially price becomes neutral, and then we gauge the reaction to, price taking the low or hitting the inefficiency, right? And then that kind of becomes your order flow at that point, which then you can base trades off of. So when we see a bullish reaction of sweeping liquidity, that's the market's way of tipping its hand and telling you, okay, anticipate potentially the confirmation for bullish order flow. And then when price starts to violate bearish PD arrays and respect bullish ones, like this bullish order block here, and obviously we're violating these bearish gaps, that's the market's way of telling you, okay, order flow is now bullish. Pair that with a bullish draw, and there's your bias, right? So that completes one part of the equation, the most important part. And then we go momentum, and we say, okay, do we have good momentum? Is it like 5 points per minute? Oh, okay, we obviously have good momentum here. Does it align with time? Not really. Do we have the model? Yeah, we swept the low, get a V shape. So that's kind of how you can figure out if this is a good trade for you. Now, if you don't want to take this trade because you're concerned that order flow isn't confirmed because we have bearish gaps that are still holding on the lower time frame, then I understand that. Then you don't take this trade. You wait for the confirmation setup, right? But here you have to take the confirmation setup because it gives you every single piece of the puzzle: bias, momentum, time, model, and we still have buy side above, right? This is essentially a retrace play. Does that make sense? Like order flow here, because we start to respect bearish PD arrays and disrespect bullish one, doesn't necessarily flip because we still have, bullish order flow here in this 5-minute gap and whatnot. Like right here, I wouldn't say, okay, order flow is now bullish because we've inversed this 1 minute to the left here, right? I think order flow is still bearish because whenever you're considering order flow, it's not just what gaps are being respected or disrespected or that kind of thing. It's also market structure, right? It's order flow and market structure. So here, market structure just appears bearish. Obviously very market maker sell model-y. And so here, I would just kind of anticipate this to be a retracement and then a short, right? That's why I'm saying, like, don't short here because we're creating inefficiencies above and it's pre-FOMC. And so once these inefficiencies get balanced, then, we should see a short probably work. Maybe from this 1 minute gap or maybe once the 15-minute forms here. Exis, there is a lifetime PM option. The problem is people used to buy it on accident when I had it just like with the WAP link. So now it's its own separate checkout link so that, people don't accidentally buy it. What's going on, man? APOF, any inefficiencies or liquidity, can be on any time frame. But yeah, obviously higher time frame inefficiencies are going to be draws. Bro, I can't. I'm not doing it. I just can't, dude. Dude, my ears.
What song am I playing?
Thunderstruck. I don't know.
Nope. Wonderwall. Do you guys hear it? Do you hear it?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple people guessed Oasis, yeah. All right. Dude needs to work on his rhythms, Isn't it like
Yo, who's in this long?
I'm bearish, so not me.
You're bearish?
Yeah, dude.
Alright, yeah, I'm long in here, guys.
Okay.
That's all I needed to know.
This guy.
Dude, this is actually a banger. Holy. Did the indicator alert it? No, it didn't because we didn't sweep liquidity.
Yeah, this looks like a market maker sell model to me. Personally. Was the confirmation...
Bro, look at this momentum.
Okay. I don't care. It's just retracement. Short-term retracement. Anyway. Somebody asked me, sorry, I got distracted here. Let's see. Question. When you refer to model, it's only sweep plus V-shape. So model is essentially liquidity sweep, singular gap, good momentum, good break even, right? And so here we have our liquidity sweep on the 1 minute. We have singular gap. We have 3 candle V shape, and we have good break even. That's A plus, right? Is the 8 a.m. 1 hour candle a breaker block? No. Because we haven't inversed it yet. And also, it's not really that good of a breaker because it's not at a swing point. If we formed the 6 a.m. candle and we inverse that, that would be a good breaker. Why was this a good trade? Delivery from 15 in 1 hour. Why was this not a good trade? Well, in my mind, I'm anticipating this to be a pullback, right? With this being the complete of the market maker sell model here, because right now it appears that the higher time frame order flow wants to be bearish, and then this will confirm bearish order flow to the low here. Obviously, though, just like very strong momentum back to the upside here, but we don't get the model here. We're outside the macro time. And yes, momentum and bias is good. So like you could take this on eval, or sorry, bias is like unclear here because this 1 minute gap doesn't really have any significance to me, and this just seems like a retrace. So it's almost like taking a long on the sell side of the curve, which like you want your longs to occur after liquidity's been swept, and we just haven't swept liquidity. We just kind of got like a major retrace. So. And we have no delivery rate. Well, delivery is order flow, right? So, I mean, our delivery right now is essentially bearish until proven otherwise, right? Because we respected this 30-minute and started disrespecting bullish PD rays here, right? The 5, the 3, like every single time frame's bullish PD rays were disrespected. And we put in bearish PD rays. We put in breakers. We put in bearish fair value gaps. So what I'm kind of anticipating is for price to respect this gap here. And then, you know, maybe we see a reversal from here. But if momentum is going to be this strong and this bullish, and we violate like the 5 minute here to the upside, then obviously I'll probably flip and I'll become bullish, right? Because I can't fade a V shape like this. So if you wanted to take a play prior to FOMC, we're 15 minutes until then, this would be your play. It would be the 5 minute inverse long. This would confirm bullish order flow, so you'd have bias on your side, you would have momentum, you wouldn't have time, but actually, yes, you would, because on the close, it would be the start of the macro. And then, obviously, you wouldn't have the model. So this would be a bias momentum time play. Obviously, I'm not going to take it because it's pre-FOMC, but this is a good setup. This is a subjectively good setup if it wasn't for FOMC. Would that be a protected low, or is it not? Yeah, so we swept out buy side, so this low wouldn't be protected anymore. Right? So anytime price creates a protected low, and then we sweep out buy side, that low is no longer protected. I mean, for this long, we have no delivery. I mean, technically, our order flow is still bullish on the higher time frame. Like, we're basically just in like a range right now, right? Where this 30-minute gap is holding price and this 1 hour gap is holding price. So as long as we're sitting between these two gaps, we can like assume that like price is just going to be in this range. And so like while order flow isn't very clear, we can assume that like, okay, a bullish 5 minute V shape isn't going to like fail 90% of the time unless, you know, we're pre-news or there's some manipulation, right? So that's going to be my thing is why I don't take it, is because it's pre-news. But like subjectively, if you see this at any other time, like this is a good setup to take. I don't think I would have just taken the 1 minute down here though, because you're longing into a bunch of gaps without a liquidity sweep. So like here this morning, it makes sense to try and, you know, enter this 1 minute long early because we get the liquidity sweep, but here we don't. I mean, sure, we sweep this low here, but if you look at the higher time frame here, this low doesn't really have any significance on the 15-minute plus time frame. So because of that, and the fact that it's an ITL, it's not really an important liquidity sweep, whereas this, sweeping out this low, would be a major liquidity sweep. Had we gotten that liquidity sweep, I would be all over this long, because that tells me, okay, you know, bias kind of becomes neutral here, order flow becomes neutral, and then we, you know, watch the reaction to price taking the low. And if, you know, we get a bullish reaction, then we can just assume that this is an SMR. But even if we look at ES here, there's no SMT. There's no reason why price should have reversed as heavily as it did here. This just seems like manipulation prior to FOMC, right? So, kind of the idea. How about the 15-minute? Yeah, I think the 5 minute is more significant here, right? It's more obvious, so I would use that. But yeah, the 15-minute is singular. I would still wait for the 5. Do you only like? Do you only take external range liquidity sweeps? For the most part, that's what I try and take. But I'll take, like this morning, I took this trade. Right? It's just subjectivity, right? So order flow isn't confirmed bullish until we inverse this 5 minute here. And then yeah, I think that was 50%, right? So we did come up to 50 there. Yeah. So here's the macro time now. We did not inverse the 5 minute. How do we know if the low or high is protected and how it isn't protected? So a protected low is just a low inside of a fair value gap that gets swept by another low, and we create a swing, right? A swing is that 3 candle pattern where you have a higher low, lower low, higher low. When that swing gets created and price does not close below that previous low that's inside the gap, that's a protected low. So if we look at the 15 minute here, this is obviously a protected low on the 15. But when price comes up and takes out buy side here, it's no longer protected, right? So the condition for the creation of a protected low is if we take out buy side, then that low no longer is protected. That's why I'm able to target it now. But if you were trying to look for shorts this morning, and that also adds like another confluence this long, it doesn't make sense to target this low if it's going to be protected, right? And you can kind of assume based on price's reaction to taking a low if a low is going to become protected or not. Okay, Stalker. You still trade funded account on MFFU while being in the verification thing? What do you mean the verification thing? Trade boy, this is not a protected low because we took out buy side. So we kind of got like a confirmation setup here long. Obviously 5 minute hasn't inversed, 15 minute hasn't inversed yet. I think, just based off the fact that we're making a higher high here, unless this becomes a manipulation, like we're just going to, go up here. I mean, we put in the order block. I feel like this is pretty much confirmed. We're going to head higher. I have no idea why price came down here. It made it seem like we were going to create a sell model here for them to just reverse off of no sweep, no nothing. And we're not even like respecting a bullish gap here. That's crazy. Oh, I guess, well, that 30-second isn't obvious enough. But yeah, there's like nothing here as to why price should have V-shaped back up like this. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Batman. That's a question for them. Rogard, normally FOMC isn't that volatile, but today I kind of suspect it will be, so it's up to you. But yeah, if you know how to do the eval pass method, then go for it. Is my bias still bearish? I don't think so. I think we're gonna close above the 5 minute here in 2 minutes, so then I'll be bullish. But like my bias isn't gonna matter because we have FOMC in 7 minutes. So when we get that, that's about it. You still doing the giveaway thing? Yeah, if you guys want to enter the giveaway, use my MFFU code at checkout and then just send me a message on Discord with your like either time you purchased the account and your email, because I need your email to enter you into the giveaway. So yeah, each transaction counts as one entry, and the giveaway will be at the end of the month. Am I taking this 5 minute? Probably not, because we have FOMC in 5 minutes, so I'll just wait for that. Do we wait till 2:30? No, we wait till 2. 2 is when the news release happens. What's going on, Stalker?
Not too much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I did take a long near the bottom there with the inverted when we got the inversion,
Sure.
and I didn't need the sweep, or the sweep wasn't as important to me because of edge full stats.
Okay.
So the edge full stat that I was relying on is the initial balance break.
Okay.
So between you take the high and the low between 9:30 and 10:30, so the first hour.
Okay.
Okay, and whatever side after 10:30 it breaks to,
Okay.
there is a 77% chance that the opposing side won't be taken uh, during the New York session, so before 4 o'clock.
Gotcha. Okay. So whichever
Yeah.
side it ends up breaking to, the other side won't get
So
swept.
exactly 77% of the time.
Okay.
So because the high was taken and there was that 77% chance, even though we went down there, sure, I guess like 23 or a little more than 20% of the time it is going to break that low. But I don't need it to break that low to take an inverted
Yeah.
fair value gap play.
I got you. You're just
Uh,
playing the edge there, the stats.
Who in
Yeah,
the world
exactly.
is Stalker Gains?
So yeah, I didn't want to type all that into
Nah.
the chat. It's just a lot. It's a lot easier to explain it verbally, and you threw up the fib, and you totally get what I'm saying. So that's. Oh, also, there's another interesting stat that I've been using, and you take the first hour of trading in the New York session, so
Okay.
between 9:30 and 10:30. And if we are above the open price or below the open price, that is an indication of whether the New York session is going to be red or green for the day. And
Squirrel.
that has an 80% likelihood of working out correctly.
Wow.
So today we closed above, the first hour closed above the opening price at 9:30.
Okay.
So there's an 80% chance that, by 4 o'clock today, we're going to be above the open price.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so that's another reason that I took the long was we were below the open price, so
Yeah.
there were kind of like two factors working towards that long, and it worked out pretty well because I got in right on the inversion there. Anyway, you can disable my mic, and thanks for all your great work, by the way. I type it into the chat, but now that we're talking, I can say it to you personally.
For sure. Yeah. No, I appreciate you for always, adding your input into PM, and obviously, the previous hourly high, previous hourly low thing is something that I always look for now. So, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you want to send me over any more information regarding that in DMs, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, I will actually. I'll DM you some of the charts, like their, the graphics that Edgeful has for their reports, so you can see it for yourself.
Alrighty, man. Well, yeah, we're gonna hop
Alright,
into FOMC here, so yeah, good luck.
Yep, I'll let you go, and I'll be watching intently. Have a good one, man. Bye.
All right, see ya.
Yo, that 1 minute was a banger.
Yeah, shit printed. But yeah, Stalker has just been a member of PM for quite some time now. He always provides very insightful stuff regarding data, and he's the one that kind of opened my eyes to the previous hourly high, previous hourly low thing at 2 o'clock. And so
ICT opened my eyes to that.
I try and pay attention to anything that he says regarding stats. But yeah, man, any FOMC predictions? Stalker's staying up.
ICT. I have no idea.
No, already.
I say down.
Down? Okay.
Take out those equal lows. Oh, yo, get this on recording. I'm gonna say we go down like a second before, and then if the candle goes up, I'll post it.
Okay, okay.
All right. Do you have my desktop audio recorded?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, okay.
Aren't we hitting a trend line? I don't know. Ask Vert.
All right, guys. FOMC down. Easy down prediction. Okay. All right, maybe not. Maybe not. All right, it's gonna go down now. All right. I think my chart's inverted.
Yeah, I think so. Here, just give me a sec. Let me just go to canvas here. Symbol, body. All right, yeah, let me just make that red. Oh, okay. Yeah, dude, we went down. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. I just sent that to me.
All right, well, we swept out the majority of the draw for right now. So we created a good data wick up here. Maybe we'll get a nice OSFL setup. We don't really have a data low here. So we just have to be concerned about, maybe we get like a 30-second gap and then we can take that. Lewis low is target. Yeah, we'll see.
There is a 1 minute inverse. Or 30 second. 30 second.
Oh, to the downside, you're saying? Yeah. FOMC median forecast still shows 50 basis points of rate cuts in 2025. So no more rate cuts than what was already anticipated. So no additional rate cut in September.
I don't know what that means, but
So basically, interest rates are going to stay the same as anticipated going into the rest of the year.
all right, 30-second short here, guys.
$22.8. Yeah, I see that.
And it's invalid.
All right. Well, we're going to get a 1 minute here. So this should be pretty good.
I want FOMC to go down. And that could have just been the fake move.
So we came back here, tapped in the last 5 minute.
There's a 5 minute. What's the TP? Well, there's no entry really yet. I mean, unless you took the 30-second or just... If you took the 30-second and you're somehow still in, then the TP would be 21,939. So way down there. Let's see. Yeah, like 50% is like at 9. 50%'s at 9. Let's see. 50% was just tapped.
Yep.
So I guess if we like death candle through like this 50%, that's like the only other downside I see. But we need to like death candle through this.
Yeah, guys, if we get the 1 minute long, I'm taking this.
Okay. Oh. How long have you been playing the guitar? Like 10 years. about. Can you tell? No, just kidding.
Fish stick.
All right, now that everyone's muted me, let me get like a real winning signal.
Ooh, okay, okay. Ooh, 30-second here. Maybe.
We're gonna dump.
Nah, we're just. God,
All right,
we're
so
through
do you guys
50.
see this death candle? Do this 50%.
Oh, there's the
That
5
means we're
minute
gonna go to.
inverse.
That means we're gonna go to sell side here. Hopefully. We usually don't death candle like that through 50%. I feel like. So, what would a possible entry be here now? Possible entry would be this 5-minute short, right? The indicator just alerted it. Now, am I going to take this 5-minute short? No, I'm not. I try not to take like a short with this big of a stop loss during FOMC, and the main reason is just because JPOW. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for like a 30-second here. I'd rather have like a 30-second because I think that'd be a little tighter stop loss, and 5-minute is too risky. I try to stay below like the 3 for FOMC, but a little tighter stop loss. So now you just wait.
Dude, longs from the low here would be generational. If we came down and swept out this low and then held the 1 hour like we've been holding.
Reliable. Can I teach you a little lesson here, buddy?
Oh man, yeah, let's hear it. As long as
Go
it's
to
not
the hourly
Qatar.
time. Go to the hourly time frame.
Yeah.
Now here's what I want you to do. Zoom out. More. Now I want you to draw a line from the low from the 12th. Nope. The next equal low. Yep, right there. Now drag it up to the low from today, Wednesday at 1 p.m.
All right.
Yeah. See the lesson now that I'm about to teach you?
So I'll be on board with that idea as long as we inverse this 1 hour gap to the downside, because we want to pair our higher time frame draws with, something on the higher time frame, right? We're not going to base our short idea on a 1 minute entry, right? Or a 5 minute.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So yeah,
But
I'll be on board with that.
it's pretty good liquidity in my opinion. So once we get that 1 hour inverse, I'm full porting shorts and options.
For sure.
And then those equal lows are going to be targeted.
Yeah. What about the data high? Yeah, I'm all over the data high. Like, if we get this 30-second right now, I think this is a good setup still, even though we violated the 5 minute, because, order flow is technically still bullish on the lower time frame. We're respecting this 3 and, 1 minute gap below here. So, I think this is a good entry. Break even here. Only problem is this gap isn't that significant, but I like the data high draw above.
Yeah, so unfortunately the student and the teacher has conflicting opinions right now, so yeah. I'm gonna leave before.
No, stay on, man. Tell me
You think I should stay on?
what's the problem with this long?
Nothing. I just bearish.
You're just bearish, okay.
That's literally it.
You don't care about the data high?
I do, but I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I guess this long could work, and then that could be a soup, and then we go back down.
Yeah, that's kind of my idea. So I'm gonna go stop to break even there,
All
and
right.
hopefully not
Go
get
back
stopped to break even.
now.
No, come on. That sucks.
See, like, see, that's why I don't even bother taking that, because I know that's gonna be a soup.
Whatever. Well, break even trade, I guess.
All right, let's get a short here.
Hey, I'm gonna call it a draw. I don't know about teacher winning or losing. I mean, break even trade.
Let's see what happens here.
All right. Well, now this 1 minute gap is definitely significant. We've rejected it now twice. So if we get this 1 minute gap, I mean, that'll be the free long, right?
Okay, if we get the 1 minute gap, I might change my mind, but that 30-second, not enough.
For sure, for sure. I think I'd be more on board with the bearish idea if we took out the high here from 22,000, like 98. But because we left buy side intact there, I still like the idea for longs. So it looks like it was a good break even. Break even saved us there. Now we're outside the macro. I'd really like to see this move happen before the Q&A session, because whenever we start getting questions from the reporters at the FOMC press conference, everything starts to become like super manipulated, and it's difficult to take trades while they're talking. Usually you have to wait until after. But yeah, how many of you guys took this 30-second? Okay. And then I guess like type 3 if you didn't take it because you want to be bearish like Dodgy.
Yeah. My boys. Yo, go in the dodgy spam. Also, if you guys want the dodgy spam alert, go to the free alert section, go to alert sign up, and just do dodgy spam alerts.
What's the thought with the data wick? Do we fill it? So the idea, Bullseye, right now is that we've created this 1 minute gap here that's kind of like our tell for order flow. If we inverse it to the upside, we'll expect the one or the data wick to hit. If we continue to respect it, I guess the idea is we're bearish. But right now, I just think we're between like, you know, this 3 minute BPR here and this 1 minute gap. So whichever one ends up breaking is kind of where I'll go. And then obviously Dodgy's already kind of aligned bearish, because I'm assuming it's because
I'll change my mind if we inverse that 1 minute.
I'm assuming you're bearish because of the reaction we got to taking the LRLR, the fact that we held this 1 minute gap here, and then we started violating bullish PD arrays here, and we put in like this bearish
and breaker block.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I see the vision.
It's a breaker to the downside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but OSFL, but OSFL got patched, remember?
Yeah, OSFL is low-key on patch recently. It hasn't been patched, it's just all these data wicks are taking out other liquidity pools.
And then yesterday when we, try and target the data high there at open, we just rip up without a setup. Holla, if a lot of other people are having that issue, I'll restart. Yeah, I like invert because we didn't take out buy side. By the way, for those of you that were asking me about price action last week, I mentioned how the contract rollover, as we get more and more into the new contract with more and more volume, price is going to start to clean up. And today was like that first day, where we started to really get good PA. I'm guessing Friday won't be as good because we have OPEX and quad witching, and it'll be the day after a federal holiday. But next week should be business as usual, right?
Next week what?
Next week should be business as usual as far as PA. I think next week will be good.
Yeah.
Friday, am I doing stream? Friday is my girlfriend's birthday, so I probably will not be streaming. Maybe I'll hop on from like... Actually, no, I won't. I just won't be on. It'll all be about her on Friday.
Happy birthday!
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Tammy, we'll be off this Friday. I'm going to celebrate the day with my girlfriend. You got a girl. I thought you was Rainbow. All right.
Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. How do I charge back on WAP?
Okay.
Thank you.
That's a good one, Rob. That's a good one. Is this a fake retail bear flag? Is this a bear flag, Dodgy?
Reliable has disputed your refund request.
Ooh, tough.
Hey Siri. How do I fight back a dispute and call the bank?
Do I still trade during FOMC press conference? Not really. I mean, maybe if we get something super textbook, but like if we're gonna be trading in the middle of the range, probably not. I'll have to wait for the extremity at that point. Looks like a death sickle, not a bear flag. Yeah, I have no idea what any of that means. With the LRLR below, do you think the woman is still good? Yeah. Yeah, because to me this isn't really that important of LRLR, right? We talked about LRLR a little bit yesterday. Twisted, right? And we talked about this idea of like good LRLR having a lot of orders at the swing points. And this LRLR here doesn't have a lot of orders. I mean, obviously we're in higher volume conditions, so it's going to be a little bit better, but significant LRLR is going to take time to build. And, you know, with that time, that offers more opportunity for more orders to get placed at those swing points.
Wow, this is horrible.
Yeah, it's not great. Maybe we get a candle close in the 1 minute here. We start to violate it. Get the 1 minute inverse. And then we get the 1 minute inverse, but we close all the way up here, so it's actually negative RR. You can still take it. True, true, true. Do you know any prop firms that don't have unrealized drawdown rule? Like trailing drawdown, you mean, Josh? Oh, yeah. Top Step, My Funded Futures, I think Tradeify. Would it matter if we inverse outside of the macro? No, because it's a data wick. Rating of the setup, I mean, OSFL. OSFL is usually going to be subjectively great. It has a really high win rate. Will this be A+? Yeah. Yep. Just need good momentum. The best inverses, guys, are going to be ones that have a singular candle close through a singular gap. So if you look at this morning, here's, you know, textbook IVG, right? So you want to see the same thing here. We just want to see a singular candle get through this gap. Will this count as OSFL? Yep. Yep, this is OSFL.
Dump it. All right, wait. Do a poll for long and short.
All right.
Let's see who wins. Drew, bullish or bearish? Okay, majority of people in chat are bullish here. So again, I kind of made an Instagram reel today, and this is a serious post talking about how you want to fade the masses or like fade what people think. And honestly, this is just a perfect example. So you can see that 50 people voted yes for bullish, and 33% voted no. And again, when their brain looks at this price action, they think, "Oh, bullish," right? So the market makers are basically tricking them. So we're really bearish, which goes along with my bias because we have all the LRLR on the hourly. We also took like an internal high in the 15-minute. We just looks like we're breaking through 15-minute inverse, which had a bullish signal to the upside, so that's a good sign. And it's fading the masses. Am I ever wrong? Nope. All right, there's a woman along here. This doesn't look bad. Let's see here.
This is bait.
Just kidding.
Okay, bro.
On a serious note, the only possible way I'd ever switch my bias here is if we like rocketed over that 1 minute that Reliable's marked. But otherwise, I'm bearish here.
I mean, yeah, sentiment should be bearish given that they're not cutting rates, right? But I imagine the reason why we're stalling here, guys, is because we're anticipating the press conference at this point. So I don't think we'll get a move until, probably after then. That's okay, We still have an hour and a half left in the day.
Why won't data high get hit first? Dude, I don't know. The data high took out liquidity, and we formed a breaker to the downside. And we have LRLR below and equal lows. I mean, Jerome could say anything. I don't know what Jerome's going to say. But
I think they should cut because I think oil prices are going to go up. What color ties you in today? I don't know. I don't think the conference is live. But yeah, Apuff, basically, while questions are being asked during the press conference, price becomes really manipulated in response to those questions. And so it's best to just not take anything. And if you're going to take something, wait for the extremity to be swept and wait for something really A+. But don't trade in the middle of the range while the press conference is happening. And then once it's over, usually around 310, 315, that's when price, starts to clean up.
well, would data highs get hit first? Because the data high just does a giant bearish wick up there. And FOMC usually is a 2-move process. It usually does the first move, then it goes the opposite way.
Yeah, Uriel. So if you look at today's range as a dealing range, the extremity of the range would be this high here for buy side, and then sell side obviously down here. So we want to wait for one side to be swept before taking either a long from down here or a short from up here. At least during the press conference, and then after the press conference, it doesn't really matter. Price usually cleans up. $21,968 soup. I mean, yeah, because there that would have price still respecting bullish PD arrays. And so yeah, if we soup this low, that would be like the last opportunity because it's a low inside of a BPR.
Pretty high momentum 30-second candle. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, if we don't soup this low vert, then yeah, we're probably just gonna be bearish and then go for the low, and then in order to confirm that price is going to run the LRLR in the higher time frame with the equal lows below, we'd want to see price inverse this 1 hour gap that's been holding up price all day. And we won't have to wait for the 1 hour to get inverse here if it's very obvious that price is like having, high momentum through, sell side, and, we're just violating the gap completely.
This is also trash price action right now.
Yeah, we're not really forming any.
This is a lot of momentum in the 30-second on a footprint chart, so this could be a pretty big reversal here, just from what I'm looking at footprints, just so you guys know. It's shit ton of delta just came in.
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna get this 1 minute. A lot of deltas here in footprints, so this 1 minute's probably gonna work, just based off what I'm seeing. It's like a monster delta candle right now. We didn't break any stacks, but we just got a giant, like, some giant buyers right down there. Just out of nowhere. Yeah, honestly, this is a signal. Like, I mean, I don't see this 1 minute failing. And this, I'm not even looking at the chart. I'm looking at footprint charts right now. There is a stack above this little high though, so if we break that, that's like the true, like, okay, now we're gonna go to dead highs. There's a giant stack there too. So that's why it's like my bias right now, because if we end up breaking that stack, we're gonna go to the dead highs too. What the hell's going on right now? This candle's like no volume. Yeah, I'm gonna send a stream chat 1 second. Oh, there's the volume.
Hopefully we hit this high here so we can go to break even before the press conference starts.
So do you see how, like, let me show you guys. Look at this delta right here in footprints. So see how, like, we're at, like, the bottom numbers at delta. See how we're at 45, negative 37, 63. Those are like the average numbers. And then all of a sudden, 177. Like, that's like very, that's an anomaly. So we're going from like 50, 30, 40, and then all of a sudden 177. Like, that's crazy. I mean, to be honest, I hope this is somehow liquidity to go down, but a lot of times this will not be. Someone got in before the giant candle too.
Vert, I've kept my condition the same. I don't know enough about footprints to say definitively that we're going up here, but I mean, this looks like a pretty crazy for value yet. But obviously, Dodgy has more experience with it.
Every single time we were like at 30, 40, 50, 30, 40, and then all of a sudden we get 180 out of nowhere, we always go up after that. Does that make sense, everyone? It's not that hard to understand.
Yeah.
It's just like looking for anomalies. So if we've like difference between buyers and sellers, like 30, 40, 30, 40, 50, and then all of a sudden it's 200, do you really think that's going to cause a red flag? Yeah. I want like I would love like a negative 200 candle down here. That's what I'd be waiting for. Powell just started speaking.
Wow, he's right on time. That's crazy.
Damn.
Dude, it's funny. Every single time we like look at Financial Juice and it's like Trump speaking, he's always like 30 minutes to an hour late. And then we have FOMC press conference and Powell was like right on time.
Good man, Powell.
But yeah, man, purple tie is short, so I think, you're in good shape.
I mean, I'm waiting for like a death candle here, bro. That's what I want. I need to see this whole candle get reversed for me to be confident in any shorts here. And it can't be with like a negative 30 delta candle. It has to be like a negative 150. Come on, Powell.
Ooh, I think we have like a textbook 10-second trade here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, 5 cent looks good. Well, damn it. I don't think we're going to get that death candle.
Dude, it's so funny. Vert has spammed what my thoughts are on this 1 minute external like 5 or 6 different times because he's trying to get the signal. Vert, I still like the external.
All right, so no death candle there. We went off that dumbass stack. Usually we do, but
All right, well, there's the break even for the 1 minute. Obviously, the 1 minute.
we just hit that. We just hit that bear stack to the left now. So if we break this, I'll change bullish. No, the trading view sucks. The 1 minute didn't fail. The 1 minute still win. The 1 minute just hit the break even point. No, it's an inception gap. You don't cut unless that 1 minute bullish gap breaks. Remember that whole candle is 177 delta. If you're gonna cut when we retrace into a 177 delta candle, which is a lot for footprints, you're out of your mind. You never want to cut in a candle like that. That's like the most bullish signal you can get on a footprint chart, going from 30, 30, 30, and then also at 170. All right, it looks like this stack is getting absolutely ran through. Yeah, so this candle is 273 delta, the one that just printed. That's the biggest one we've seen. So yeah, this 1 minute's probably gonna work if we get it. No, Hutch, it's the Fair Valley gap. I can tell you haven't watched the ICT 2022 mentorship. You ought to watch the ICT 2022 mentorship.
All right, let's run it. Let's figure out break evens, I guess, for this trade. If there's even one. Yeah, there's just not a break even here. You just kind of got to send it. I mean, there's this 15-second high here, but that's like not a good break even.
Want me to get my thoughts?
But this is OSFL.
Want me to get my thoughts?
Yeah, your thoughts are going to be you should have been in from the 1 minute below off the delta stack.
Nah. I mean, you could have, but I would go break even at the CE of that 1 minute rejection block quick.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
What do you mean, Lambo? Yeah, so like, 22,000, like 65 ish probably. But yeah, honestly, you probably could have gotten in earlier on this just based off footprints. That's why I said like this. I mean, that was definitely a signal. Like that footprint was just super bullish. So okay, and damn, my top step was top to break even. All right, so there's the dump that I want. This is what I want, but we don't really have an inverse here, unfortunately. This is a negative 300 delta candle. This is what I was looking for below. I guess if we inverse this 1 minute, but I guess it would be a breaker. Yeah, if we inverse this 1 minute, it would also be a breaker. I'd definitely like this 1 minute short.
We hit the low first. Are you talking about the 1 minute at 14.25?
Yeah.
Okay.
It would also be a breaker block. All right. No break there yet. I'd love to like build up some low resistance liquidity, but I'm not really building any that are, it's like algorithmic in my opinion. I mean, there's kind of low resistance liquidity in the one here, so it kind of looks like it's setting up, but it could be a little better. All right, now we'd get a 1 minute order block down. We got it. Can you change your vote to bearish now? Nope. I mean, we could still be bullish, but like I said, I want those daily equal lows. That would make the most sense, especially with like the hourly trend line. Yeah, tomorrow bank holiday. I'm definitely surprised that that long failed, but I mean, I was already bearish. So I guess I'm not surprised, but it definitely looked like good momentum. But like I said, I would have gone in earlier.
I ended up trying that light just because Powell was speaking, and then I got stopped for like I don't know, 50 points or whatever it was. So I ended up $200 loss there, but that's is what it is. I'd rather try it light and then try a second attempt here. At this 1 minute back up if we get it.
I mean, there is a 30-second back up.
Yeah, 30-second, 1 minute, all the same. All the same to me. I like this because, like, now I could, like, potentially... This would be my second setup of the day, so if this loses, then that would be it, but can I even take this heavier? I guess I could take this with, like, 3 contracts probably and be safe, so maybe I'll do that instead of 2.
That's what you get for not taking the long this morning. Yeah, that's my only trade today. I'm not trading this shit. I'm gonna sound like an eval for fun right now. How come the 1 minute failed? I think the bias is bearish, so I think that's why it probably failed. Or Powell just said something. I don't know. But my overall bias is bearish right now. So again, a lot of people in chat said they were bullish, but I believe it's bearish. So I'd love like a 1 minute breaker here or something. But we're not really getting anything. I feel like we haven't even gotten any good shorts either. Like that dump could have been good, but it never formed the breaker, so that wasn't good. And other than that, we really haven't gotten any good shorts.
I think if we get the 1 minute to the downside here, that'll be a good short because this gap has been, you know, holding price up quite a bit, and you have a decent break even point there.
Yeah, and it's low resistance liquidity.
Powell normally doesn't stop talking, Zebby, until like 3:15, so it's gonna be a minute. So like what I would do, which is what I did, is I would just size down if you're gonna try and take anything. And yeah, like it might take multiple attempts, but I think it makes sense to see the data high here as long as we're seeing price respect bullish PD rays and disrespect bearish ones.
We have like conflicting draws right now. We have a data high, and then we have this LRLR beneath.
I'm watching ES here for maybe an SMT.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you might not want to trade between this range. Unless you really want to gamble that the data high is going to hit first, I guess you could, but...
And invalid. Of course.
So pretty high momentum candle there. It is very high in footprints. So maybe we go for the data high and then get a short up there. I'm not sure. I guess that would be like the dream scenario. Hit the data high and then get a short. It'd also be a like if we hit the data high, then we get like a nice 30-second V shape down at 250. That could definitely be pretty nice.
I think ES is going to hit it first. But yeah, no, I'd be all over a short if we could hit the buy side level here. I don't think the SMT with the data wick is going to matter as much because ES still has buy side above. But if ES hits its external liquidity and then we get an SMT, like that might matter.
Yeah. It's looking pretty bullish on footprints here, not gonna lie. I just think there's little conflicting draws right now. Because we have LRLR below too.
Yeah.
Again, dream scenario would be go up, hit the dot high, and then get a short. That's like the dream scenario right now. And then it could be during the macro.
I think I'm married to the data highs. I think you know I'm gonna have to set a wedding date and you know start setting money aside.
Dude, that was that might have been the top 10 comments I've ever seen in this Discord. I don't know if that was a joke or not, though.
I thought you were rainbow.
The rainbow comment. That was funny.
Yeah. Is the purple shaded a 1 hour FEG? No, it's a 30-minute. Yeah, there's a 30-minute gap that's kind of holding price down right now.
Yeah, the ICT, that was pretty funny. I will admit that.
Not profitable.
Okay, coming.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say we're kind of coming back down to that trend line again. Again, you can kind of see because we're in between this trend line and data high. It just creates this like ripple effect, and it's just conflicting draws, as Reliable said. So I think this is pretty low probability conditions until one of these are taken, probably. Nah, I probably want to take the 2 minute. I mean, bro, there's a data high above, and we got really close to it, and there's LRLR below, so it's just conflicting draws, and I don't know which one's gonna hit first. I was guessing bearish at the start, but because of how close we got there, I don't want to guess now. You know what I'm saying?
All right, we just took it a low inside of a 30-second here. I think really it's just still going to come back down to this 1 minute. If we break this to the downside, we can expect these lows to get hit. Ooh, I like that though.
Like what?
We swept this low inside the 30-second gap and then got a bullish reaction to it. Yeah, we still got to wait for this 2 minute.
All right, we do have potential 1 minute back up, but again, same thing, conflicting draws. So again, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna get off here. I'm probably just gonna set alerts at the high and the low and just come back. So good luck, and I'll see you guys later. And then once one of them hits, I'll maybe look for another trade. But again, I'm only trading eval right now for fun.
All right, man.
Peace.
See ya. All right, well, I guess we're gonna try attempt number 2. I'll take a stab at it again, probably same risk, and then that'll be my second attempt for the day. For the 1 minute long there, I actually didn't take that. I waited for the second attempt, which was the gap to the left there, since this was holding price down. This to me didn't really tell me anything about order flow, since we never swept the liquidity here and we didn't have an SMT. So I was just waiting. Obviously, the what's it called? Bookmap said otherwise. Footprint, yeah, thank you. Footprint said otherwise. That made this a good trade, but I don't know. I don't really work with footprints at all. I don't know enough about them, so maybe if I had a little bit more experience with them, if I'd back tested them, I could use that information a little bit more reliably. But I'm okay with taking the loss there. Obviously, mitigated my risk. I knew going into this that price was going to be manipulated because we had Powell speaking, so that's probably my own mistake trying to take a trade there. However, I think trying to take a stab at the long there isn't a bad idea either. Whenever you see that much momentum through a singular gap like that and we get that candle close, that's what you want to look for with an inverse. And so just one of those moments where, the word tariff was said and, slammed us back down. But yeah, I think as long as we're holding this 1 minute, I'm going to be with Ryan and his idea that, we'll be bullish until the data high. And then if we inverse the 1 minute down, we'll be bearish. So obviously, it sucks to take a loss, but it's how you manage those losses that's going to affect your trading long term. And so right now, I'm just chilling, waiting for that next setup. If I take another loss today, then that'll be it. And yeah, that's about it. What time is Powell done speaking? Normally, he's done speaking at 3:15 or 3:20. Do I think this was a good loss? Yeah, I think it was fine. I think we just got unlucky with the tariff thing. It is what it is. Did that loss break my win streak? I think the win streak was already broken, to be honest. I think we took like a loss on eval, and that wrecked it. But I mean, it's not a big deal. That loss put me like I'm still up. I think like 250 on the day. So it is what it is. I mean, you know, if you took this morning's trades, you're probably down more, but you know, move on, right? It's all statistics, so it is what it is. Apov, well, how did I jinx you? What happened? Hutch, I think PA was off for the last 2 weeks because we had contract rollover. By the way, we are in the macro now. What do I think about this 1 minute? Let's think here. Do we have an inception gap? We don't really have an inception gap, so we can just play the risk reward here. What's our risk to the low? It's 25 points. To this low is 17, so that's 1-to-1. So like half off here. Another con there. Try and target, I guess, the lows. Would that be the idea? If we hold this 1 minute, then forget it. Obviously, we can, you know, maybe see another long. If there's a setup, maybe the 3 minute, I guess, would give us the best opportunity here. So yeah, if we hold the 1 minute, we'll just take the 3 minute. But yeah, pretty bullish reaction. Remember I said I would skip AM just to take the OSFL FOMC? Oh, yeah, Puff. Yep. Yeah. So if we don't get the data eye here, that'll leave a good draw for us for a different day. So I'm okay with that. I kind of like this inverse to the downside. So maybe this is how I'll get green on the session, even though it kind of goes against the draw here, right? And we want to wait for the conflicting draws to be swept. What's up?
If we get this, I'm taking options.
Okay.
Can you please tell me if this triggers?
Yeah.
Because I can't really see.
So triggered there.
Okay.
Who else is in this with us?
God damn it, dude. Oh my god, I just took a fucking call.
Oh.
Oh my god.
All right, I'm break even there.
Fuck, dude.
All right, I'm scaling half there. Really like this momentum.
Yeah, same. How many if we hit 939, please?
Okay. You don't want 926? You just want the low there?
No, I just need to know because I'm gonna move us out break even if we hit 929.
Okay.
And then 926 is gonna be my first target, and then I'll just target way lower. If I was on futures, I already would have scaled at that low, just so you guys know. This is what I wanted. I don't know why I did that weird thing where it came close to the data highs first.
Yeah. I don't know. That was weird.
We just hit a 3-minute BPR, right?
Yep. Yeah, we hit the low inside the 3 minute there. So
Yeah, I just needs to like move quickly through it, or else I'm probably gonna get out.
I scaled like 60% already just so I could get back green on the session. So now this is all just profits. I got kind of lucky because I accidentally entered on minis instead of micros because I was
Well, I
watching.
accidentally entered.
Oh, go ahead.
Because you were watching, I said I accidentally entered calls, and then I changed it to puts. Luckily, but
I was watching the NQ chart for you, right? So I was trying to, manage that, and then I accidentally entered on the NQ chart, and so I got really lucky there, and so now I'm very green on the session.
damn, lucky duck.
I entered back on micro, so now I'm just holding my runner there. But why do you take this trade? I mean, what's the delivery? So we're kind of between a 30-minute and a 1 hour gap right now in the higher time frame.
'Cause I'm always right in the bias.
And lower
That's
time
what
frame order flow became bearish when we inversed the 1 minute. All right, well, I guess I'm going to scale everything there. All right, cool. So now I'm very green. So 1 for 2, I guess.
I'm not taking off yet. I'm holding.
For me, that was, what was that? 3R?
I feel like there's no reason to take off there when we have this much momentum. Why not wait for 926?
I don't know. Stalker said something that's throwing me, so I'm testing it.
Bro,
Also, we have an SMT.
why listen to some random dude?
Because Stalker's like insane, bro. He's like the Morik of PM stream.
All right, well, okay. I guess I'll take my money here then. 80%.
There we go.
I'm all out there, guys.
Well, we just
Bang.
had crazy momentum past that low.
Let's fucking go.
What if we go for 860 now?
Banger. Let's go.
Hey, though, it wasn't that crazy. I
Type 1 if you guys. So let's go. Brandon, to answer that question, when am I ever wrong? Like I said, never. All right. Well, that was a banger trade for me.
yeah, it was pretty good. That was pretty good. Dude, we're gonna go for 860.
Probably.
All right, guys, that's gonna be the end of PM stream. We caught our win, so we'll catch you all tomorrow, right, Dodgy?
Yep. Let's go.
All right. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, so no reason.
I would have been up way more if my freaking thing filled.
True. Oh, okay. That's a bullish reaction there. All right.
Post that in trade recaps. Show the loss too.
Oh yeah. No, I'm showing both. I don't think I would have shown the loss if we didn't take the win there. That's just not a good look for the brand. So. It happened to me normally. I'm taking 3 to 5 micros, highest 8, but yesterday I took 3 minis on Apex problems. Yeah, you'll probably have problems, but just keep trading the next 8 days and you'll be okay. How many contracts did you enter? I took. Well, I don't know. I'm not really the right person to ask that because I entered with way too many minis there. I would have entered that with like five micros though, because that's about $200 risk. But yeah, I did not enter that with 5 micros.
Let's go.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to take an MFAQ payout for a while, but that's okay. So you go over the inception gap in the first 1 minute where the official close would have been. Yeah, so your stop loss for the first 1 minute is the inception gap there. So you want to have your stop there, I guess, at the low if you want to have a hard stop, and then, your manual stop out will be if we close below the inception there. No, Addy, I'm working on it right now. I'm on day 19. Yuki, that would be crazy. So we took out the previous hourly low right there. So now previous hourly high could be in play, and we might actually end up missing 860 here. I guess let's see. Oh, we inverse the 1 hour to the downside. Uh-oh. Yeah, dude, if you would have stayed in those options, those might cook. We inverse the 1 hour.
I know. I still have one, but I only have one contract left, so I don't know what to do, and I need to go to. I want to take a nap first.
Set your limits.
Yeah, but with Webull you can't.
I got you. Yeah, so
set it based off our prices.
This is the inception gap profitable. So it's the gap that forms on the candle or swing that inverses the for value gap. So you can see here, this is your swing low, this is your swing high, this is your gap. Okay. So this is the swing that inverses the gap, and so this is your inception gap, right? This also turned into the gap that decided order flow. So when we inverse this gap to the downside, that was price's way of tipping its hand and telling us, okay, we're going to dump here. And it happened during the macro. So here we have model, macro, momentum, bias when we get the order flow switch. So this is A+. All right. So I'm barely green after 2 wins and a loss. Well, that sucks. I'm sorry. But green is better than red. So probably going to accumulate here maybe. I mean, if we V-shape back up here, that would be crazy. Maybe we go for the data high after all. Let's see. Powell's still talking.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Good trade. So again, I was pretty much joking about like the bearish and bullishing, and I'm always right. I know it was like I seem like a god. I don't want to say that, but like the only reason I was bearish is because lately, just I've been adjusting to how the data wicks haven't been getting hit when they take out a lot of liquidity. So like, whenever a data wick takes out so much liquidity like that, I hate targeting it. And like, how many people have been on my streams for years where they used to see me target it, but lately I've been a little not targeting as much just because of what I've seen and like how those data wicks taking out all the liquidity don't really have matter as much. So that's literally just me like adjusting to the market, right? Yeah, I know I called the long, but the long would have been break even anyways. The footprint long. But you can see like I'm overall bearish just because of that, and just because it equal lows in the 4 hour. And I don't know, so. But yeah, that was literally my only trade. I never have taken the long on the other long for options. I'll show you guys all my orders if you guys want to see. But yeah, that was literally my only trade, the short. So.
Far.
Okay, apparently I did buy. Wait, what? Okay, so these are my orders. Right here. Apparently my first order was not a call. I thought it was a call, so I got out, but then I got back in. I guess it was a put. So that's kind of confusing, but yeah, you can see I never took any calls at all. And that was only trade, so. Again, even though, like, could I have taken the short and technically been up like an instant 40%? Yes or no? Or the long, I mean. Could I have taken that long I called? and been up.
What do we think about this 1 minute? It's a pretty bullish reaction to the low. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I'm not looking anymore. Yeah, exactly. Like I could have taken the long, and I probably could have been green in options, but like, why would I go for a target I don't have conviction in? Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
Like, it's just I don't know. I can't do that. So, all right. Well, I'll see you guys later.
All right, man. Thanks for the input.
No problem.
Yeah, this looks pretty crazy. I kind of want to. Nah, we've taken 2 trades, a loss and a win. We're done, right? I mean, this is really good, right? I know we have like a bunch of other gaps in the way here, but this is kind of like the trade from this morning, right? V shape after taking a low, good bullish reaction, kind of IO fed at the low there, or not IO fed, sorry, soup the low. We held. We did not hold a 30-minute. Oh, that tiny one down there. Yeah, I see what you mean. We just inversed everything, but basically you're just playing the reaction of the low here. So technically a higher time frame order flow has flipped bearish. So you're kind of fading bias by taking a long here. But like, do you really want to fade a V shape like this? We have 50 above. Maybe that's just where you go break even if you got in from the 1 minute instead of trying to target liquidity there. 5 minute looks best. Let's see here. Yeah, 5 minute would confirm dead eyes, I think. So this would be like order flow switching bullish again. So maybe that's what we'll take. We'll take the 5 minute long if we get it. I like that idea. Let's do that. All right, so can everyone see how, despite everything that was going on, despite taking a loss, despite the craziness of FOMC, despite guitar playing, despite everything, all you got to do after taking a loss is just lock in and like respect the probabilities and know that like when you see your setup form, you know, take it and then be profitable. Good PA is back. Yeah, that was kind of the idea, Brandon. Everyone was asking me, you know, when we were going to have good PA, and you could see, you know, all we had to do was wait for contract rollover, wait for a good news event, and there you go. 2 minutes short. I would not be shorting after sell side was hit, although I could understand wanting to still short here because we do have sell side below, and we have, you know, the higher time frame bias aligned with that. So for me personally, I'm gonna fade it because I feel like one, you should already be in the short from here, and if you still want to hold, you should just be holding that short. But yeah, like I think this is fine. Like if you want to be bearish, like sure. I would just wait for the 30-second here, not the 2 minute, I think. If we get this 30-second inverse, take that, target this low for the break even, and then target the lows and sell side. But I'm personally just going to wait for the 5 minute long. Can you explain what confirmation setups are good and which are not? For example, like the one this morning. So confirmation setups that are good are usually ones where we accumulate for a bit, create liquidity, and then create like mini AMD on the lower time frame, like this morning, right? So accumulate here, manipulate, distribute. And the best manipulation legs are going to be when we, you know, use the manipulation leg to either sweep liquidity or tap into an unfilled gap. So here we tapped into the 5 minute, you know, that 3 minute. And so confirmation setups that form off of a big V shape or continuation or reversal, you know, after sweeping liquidity are going to be the best when we still have buy side intact. Confirmation setups that form after we sweep out buy side are not good. So here you can see this confirmation setup form before we swept buy side here. Okay. This confirmation setup short isn't as good because we swept sell side here. But you could still make the argument that, okay, we inverse the hourly and we still have sell side below. So it's not as bad as like, let's find an example of one that's like not so good. Okay, like this is pretty egregious, right? Like taking this as a confirmation setup after we swept out like this buy side and we're in a bearish gap, right? Like that's not good. I don't know. That was just like an example I could find like really quick. This session will be uploaded, right? Yep, it'll be uploaded. You're gonna switch accounts or just continue on your same account? Oh, I've long switched my accounts, Halo. Indicator alerted the long? What long? You mean the short? Or you mean this long? Oh, you probably mean this long. Let's see. On the 1 minute, right? I don't have it. Weird. Yeah, for sure, Jiu-Jitsu. But yeah, the short setup triggered. All right. I feel like today is one of those days where I definitely could use a survey feedback form because I feel like I want to get feedback on how stream was today. Because I don't know. I don't really feel like it was my greatest performance, but I hope we could. I don't know. I feel like it was decent recovery. But yeah, I guess instead of going through like the whole like formal process of it, I mean, I'll just how was stream, and then it's a poll, and you just like respond good and bad, and then I just want to hear what people's thoughts are. But yeah, we kind of have this confirmation setup forming here for a long. This is an example of a confirmation setup that isn't as good because order flow isn't confirmed bullish yet. Although this is pretty V-shaped, good reaction to liquidity. So we're kind of in like a neutral order flow scenario right now. I don't quite get it. Dodgy said he would never trade in the middle zone and would set alerts for when the market slips to highs or lows. But now he's taking a trade right in the middle of the range. Okay, so I don't really know. But what I do know is that this trade is good despite being in the middle of the range because we're in the macro and because we like dumped so hard through a gap that's clearly a sign of like this is a significant gap that creates history, right? We talk about these gaps all the time in PM stream, right? The difference between a good quality gap and a bad quality gap, right? This gap is significant, but it just failed, right? Statistics, it is what it is. This gap here is insignificant. Why would this gap be considered insignificant? This gap created at 1432. I guess the gap in series. Right? Why would this gap not be considered significant? Oh, that's another point too. He did say he took this on options. He didn't take it on futures. No history. No sweep. Yeah, right. So this bullish gap here didn't send price to a higher high. We didn't create any history with it. So because of that, seeing this gap get ran through kind of makes sense, right? But the fact that we held this gap below makes sense as well because it sent price to a higher high. It has history created here, and then we souped the low. Oh wow, this is a really bullish candle. Meeting in an hour on Iran and Israel. Okay, so that was Trump news. That had nothing to do with Powell. Do I take calls? Is it time to enter calls yet? I think the answer might be very clear in about a minute. It looks like the 1 minute gap is too old to be Dodgy's model. This one? No, not necessarily. It's not that old. It's only a half an hour. 5 minute inverse for I think like yeah, I think this is a good long if we get it. At this point I'm gonna be done for the session. It's been a very roller coaster-esque session. And I'm not trying to do anything stupid, but I think this will work for data highs. This might be our OSFL setup finally, right? Because we swept out the conflicting draw. What the hell is this news? Iran war news. Iran wants to come to the White House. Oh no. Oh no. Dude, it's gonna be a Trojan horse. Trump, be careful. Trojan goat. Oh man. Okay, if we got a confirmation set up here, would that be good? Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can put the pieces together. Maybe I need to do some more teaching if we can't get a clear answer. Yeah, I'd say so. I think if we got a confirmation set up here, it would be really good. I mean, obviously the 5 minute hasn't closed above, but when you see a high momentum candle like this is kind of like the Delta situation from earlier, right? It's kind of like this, right? It's that extreme V shape. So we'll see. I don't know if this becomes a data low. I don't really trust the Trump data lows here, but you know, some of you might consider that a data low. So if you like this short setup here, coming off the 5 minute, coming off of 50%, doesn't look horrible, right? Swept liquidity, good target, just doesn't really have a good break even. Doesn't NQ usually just create LRLR before Trump meetings? I want to long though. Yes, but I don't know. I feel like this is a weird scenario protector because we have a data high. Dude, part of me wants to like YOLO a long call lotto and try and target the data high here. What would data highs be? 432 or 532 on QQQ? If I took long calls and I took the 530 strikes here, I would make like 200% by the end of the day, I think. If we hit it. Dude, why does this short look so good? Samson with the 10K P&L. Damn. How many contracts do you usually get? I usually get like 3. I like 3, but you know, sometimes it depends. Like there's been a couple times where I bought like 10. 3 for YOLO lottos usually works for me at the end of the day. This 2 minute is beautiful. I like the 1 minute more actually, but yeah. The short here would be crazy. It goes along with higher time frame bias, I think. It just we have the conflicting data high above. All right. Reliable. When you first started trading, did you ever second guess the A plus entry? You never entered because you didn't want to keep losing? No. So that's a confidence issue when it comes to psychology. And we kind of talk about, how to build systems, Benigri, in BM that help combat, like, psychology issues. So the biggest thing whenever you're struggling with confidence in terms of psychology is either a lack of information or a lack of experience. And I feel like if you are able to recognize an A plus setup, then you fall into the second category, which is the lack of experience. And so there you just need to keep seeing it happen over and over again, because seeing is believing, right? We don't believe in faith-based stuff on the market. We believe in back-tested, proven, evidential setups. So just keep forward testing, keep back testing, keep watching the model play out. And if it's an information thing where you just don't necessarily have enough visuals of what an A plus setup looks like, or you don't have enough you don't have a strong enough grasp on what an A plus setup looks like, just refer to those PDFs that Dodgy's created or the videos, and that will kind of help you kind of build more confidence as far as being able to recognize setups. So we have this 1 minute gap that's currently holding price down, as well as the 5 minute. 5 minutes going to close here in about 3 minutes. Looks like we are going to get this order block to get put in here. I think options are about to go crazy. Fed's Powell, a rate hike is not the best case. So looks like we're just going to keep holding rates steady. That seems to be the idea here. If we inverse would that make it a PB? Protected, wait, what's a PB? Sorry, prop lock? Oh, yeah, my bad. 3 minute prop, sure. Sorry, I haven't heard people refer to PBs as prop locks in a minute. Yeah, block off a block, sure. 80% chance we close above New York Open, yeah. So yeah, I mean, that kind of aligns with the idea. It also aligns with previous hourly high to previous hourly low, right? One of Stalker's, back-tested edgeable stats thing is previous hourly high to previous hourly low here, so that would align with the data wick. I am tempted. I can't lie. It looks like a pretty good setup. I already kind of think we should have gotten a setup here, like a 30-second confirmation. Oh, we got a 15-second. Fahrenheit. Come on, man. Come on, Fahrenheit. Where's he at? Would have been a break even. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Squint. So basically, there's a tendency during the 3 o'clock candle where we will take out the previous hourly low of the 2 o'clock candle, right? So if this is 2 o'clock here, we took out the previous hourly low, and then we take out previous hourly high. It hasn't happened a lot recently, but I think that's just because of bad PA. But during good PA, it would happen like every single day. And we would use that as a confluence to target good draws. So like, today we have a data high there. Where would your hard stop be on the 5 minute, because that low is so far away? Good question. I would put my hard stop probably at this low, which is still very far. But I don't think it makes sense for price to reviolate this low. It's 40 points though. So like, you can go pretty low risk here. It's still 2R though to that hard stop. Right? If that's a 40-point stop, this is an 80-point TP. Hopefully we get the close above. It would be pretty unfortunate if we didn't. We got about 15 seconds now. Oh, nah. 5 seconds. 4, 3. No! No! If NQ closes above the 5 and ES doesn't, is that an SMT? Not really, no. All right, Vert, where's our trend line? There's two lows here. Where is it? Is it here? Wait. Oh, damn. All right, yeah, this 2-minute short looks interesting. Obviously, the gap that has significance here is going to be the 1 minute below. So I would probably take this one versus the 2 here if I wanted to short. By the way, okay, so on the 2 trades that I took, was the long that we took here, was this a signal? Type 1. Like, I thought I was pretty clear that, I said I was taking this, right? And then was the short here that we got on the 1 minute, was this a signal? I said, are you taking this trade with us? Right? So, no? Oh, damn, Vert. All right. I guess it wasn't a signal according to Vert. Jiu-Jitsu, my signals have always been clear. Bearish order flow because of 5 minute being respected. Yeah, and the 1 hour getting inverse too. So yeah, order flow is probably bearish right now. We would have wanted to see that 5 minute get inversed in order to confirm bullish. Yeah, for sure, Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, I'm always very clear. Yeah, Snipes. Today I said that's your entry, but like normally I'll say like I'm in here or whatever. You should do a loss a session. Okay, I will. I'll alert 1 loss a session and 1 win. Why did 1 minute fail? Just tariff news. I thought you could have been vocal on the long with your intentions. Dodgy kind of took over at that point. Yeah, tag for sure. I just didn't want to get in the way. That's all. Because sometimes, like when I try and talk at the same time as him, like we talk over each other, and that becomes like, conflicting. And then obviously, we kind of had different ideas too. So you guys are paying here to be in his Discord. It's he's the main teacher, right? It's his concepts. So I don't want to like kind of step over that, right? And be like, no, I'm right, when like obviously everything that I'm basing my ideas off of is his teachings. So 2 minute short here, 1 minute didn't trigger. Obviously, insanely bearish candle. I think you could get away with a chase here if you wanted to without seeing the 1 minute close. Obviously, you don't want to enter and get negative risk to reward to the data wick, the Trump data wick, but if you could have gotten in there, you probably would have been good, right? Yeah. So I know that this wasn't the cleanest close, but sometimes when you get high momentum candles like that, you don't have to wait for that close if the 2 minute like inverse is there, right? Right here, you'll have bias, momentum, and time on your side. So whenever you have bias, momentum, time, you don't have to wait for multiple confirmation closes, right? So when you get the two minute there with a strong enough death candle like that, you can just enter. Why does Dodgy preach professionalism and then come up and ruin? No. I mean, when he was playing guitar, that was before FOMC, so it doesn't really matter. We weren't really taking anything, but yeah, I get what you mean. That's a little bit hypocritical, but it is what it is. I didn't really see why you would be bearish here unless the hourly got inversed. I get the idea of being bearish here for sure. We kind of outlined it when Dodgy was talking, but we respected this 1 minute here. Okay. We created a bearish breaker. We had a death candle. We violated 50%, and we had good draws below. And then when we create this 1 minute gap here with this 1 minute gap, both of these gaps kind of become our, I guess like determining, gaps for deciding order flow. Determining gaps for deciding order flow, right? So if this gap gets inversed to the upside, we assume order flow becomes bullish on the lower time frame there. We attack this high. If this gap gets inversed here, we assume order flow becomes bearish and we attack this low. So here we respect this even when this 1 minute gap fails here. So order flow is still bullish. And then when we get the soup of the high here and we continue to respect this one, this now becomes our, guide to see what order flow is. When we violate that, we switch back bearish again. and then that allows you to take the short. By the way, for those of you that took this trade, obviously your stops break even now, and you should have probably scaled. But yeah. Opening candle continuation 9:30. Opening candle size 60 minutes. Oh, very cool. Okay, so does the 1 hour 2 p.m. candle sweep work in both directions? Yeah, profitable. Yeah, Vert. Yeah, you got to break out of the whole, oh my God, we have a data high, I have to be married to it. I got married to this data high right now. I said I was already setting up the wedding, and then I took the short. This was my determining factor. We mentioned it a lot during the stream. We said, monitor this rejection block, monitor the 1 minute there. But yeah, I don't know. Some other setup caught my eye, and I had to leave the data highs at the altar, like JM Hawk said. Yeah, for sure, Murmar. I'm glad you could get that trade. So yeah, today we had how many good setups? 4. 1 of them was a loss. 3 of them were wins. So that meets the win percentage pretty nicely. 75%. That's why we say, after 2 wins, you want to... do you ever do 1 loss a day? No, usually I do 2. Yeah, if I take a loss and there's a second good setup, I'll take the second, right? I think I mentioned that earlier. When we took that first loss, I said, yeah, I'll take the second setup here. If I lose that, then I'll be done. 1 trade a day? Nah, I stopped doing 1 trade a day. 1 trade a day is mainly for people that struggle with psychology. I don't really think that's profitable to only take 1 trade a day. Or you're not necessarily not profitable. You're missing out on profit by only taking 1 trade a day. Can you explain why Dodge was bearish? Yeah, I just kind of did, but I'll go over it again. So we respect this 1 minute here to the left. We ran sell side using the data candle, and then we came back down and created bearish PD arrays and disrespected bullish one. We created a bearish breaker. We created a bearish order block. And then we violated 50%. If we're going to be bullish here to the data high, and we have a good inefficiency and a good low that lines up with 50, should price expand past 50% with a lot of momentum? Probably not, right? And so that's kind of the idea as to why Doji was bearish there, right? The reason why it was not the cleanest delivery for the short is because the conflicting draw of the data high. And now that we've kind of addressed some of the conflicting draws here, this LRLR specifically, now we could probably see longs work. 3 minute confirmation long? Yes. 2 minute, but yeah. Yeah, the 2 minute long here would be decent because we stooped to the low. Just need to get a good singular candle through it. Obviously, it's going to close in 6 seconds, so we're not going to. But here, you're longing against order flow. You're longing against the bias. So this is like an eval play, I think. I wouldn't take this unfunded, but if we got the 5 minute inverse here, then yeah, you could take that on a significant account. Right? So this is what's telling order flow right now. Bro, if we have so many FEGs, where do you keep stop loss? Suppose you got 2 1 minute FEGs and 1 2. If that inverse, where will you keep your stop loss? On the significant inception gap. So like, okay, let's take a look here. Okay. So here we have 2 30 seconds, right? Kind of what you're talking about. And then is this a 1 tick for value gap here? The low is 90. High is 90. No, so no for value gap there. So we have that. And then do you see how like the 1 minute kind of overlaps with the 30 second there? So you can just kind of combine. So this isn't really the best example for what you're talking about. But whenever you have a bunch of fair value gaps, you want to use the most significant singular gap usually for your inception gap, or the lowest like significant gap on the lowest time frame. So like In this example here, like I would never use the 15. I wouldn't use the 30. There's no 2 minute. There's a 1 minute. So like here, I guess if you got a long on this swing, right? Assuming this is like your inverse, that would be your inception gap. But obviously, that's not really a useful one. Let me actually find a good example. Let me find
Anything
a
else
good
you got?
example.
Anything else?
Actually, I have to pay attention to the long here.
Yo,
I have it up in another chart. So
anything else?
we should be good. Yep.
Anything else you got? I just looking at.
Somebody asked me which inception gap you use when there's like multiple inception gaps in the leg.
The giant obvious dildo candle that was right in front of my face. That's which one.
No. Not in this specific example, but just in general.
Oh,
Like if there's multiple and there's like a bunch on like the lower time frame.
I don't know. It's pretty subjective.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's your answer. I don't know. It's pretty subjective. The woman in short that ended up working out, I didn't like because to me it looked like chop. Was that wrong? Yeah. So okay. So whenever we're accumulating like this, when is price normally going to clean up? Sim. Yeah, during the macro para. Thanks for answering. But yeah, it's going to be during the macro, right? And so whenever price accumulates here, we kind of have like this accumulation and then manipulate, and then the macro starts, and that's when we start to get this move to the downside, right? So even though it looks like chop, price is going to clean up during the macro, so you can anticipate that price is going to clean up here and work for the short, right? So you're just kind of playing the probabilities here. Yeah. Check now, 1 and 2 minute. Yeah, so 1 minute short or long, 2 minute long here. I mean, they're fine. At this point, I'm going to be done. You're just, like I said, this is an eval play. You're longing against the bias. You're assuming that, now the bias is bullish. But yeah, I mean, this is a good turtle soup reaction to the wick that we create there with Trump. So there would be the entry. I'm sitting out of this. If you want to take this on eval, go for it. But I'm very green for the session, so I have no reason to take any more trades. 3 clash losing streak, lost 400 across 16 accounts. Should I end it? You should never end it, Vert. There's only one logical conclusion when you're at this point in the game, all right? There's one of two things. You either A, have to sign up for the military, or B, take every single asset you have and put it on red. That's it. That's the only way. That's how you get out of this negative psychology because, worst case scenario, it hits black. No. I'm from Michigan. Okay. Okay. Yeah, profitable, what he said. Yeah, it's a 2-step plan. You take all your assets, you put it on red. If it hits black, you go to the military. If you go to the military, then best outcome, you don't have any deployments. You just hang out for 4 years. And then you collect a bag from Uncle Sam and you collect Veterans Affairs stuff and you use your Veterans Affairs stuff to pay for prop accounts. Okay? Yeah. Or Vert, you could just go over to Tory Trades. Right? Your birthday is the 24th, so I'll send you over a sub. We all full ported this 2 minute long, right? Oh yeah, totally. By what time will the 2 p.m. candle get swept 80% of the time? Like close. She would treat me nice. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been bullying you. I'll be nice. Yeah, profitable. Yep. I'm scaling at the 2-minute BPR. Oh, up here. Okay. Yeah, that's a good scale for sure. Is the high here 1-to-1? It's close enough to 1-to-1. You could just scale up the high. That seems like extortion, Vert. Will the live stream recording be available for people that have only paid access for AM2? Let me check. Yes. Define the word extortion. I got you. By the way, Paolo's done speaking. The practice of obtaining something, especially money, through force or threats. No. You're threatening to leave the Discord. Right? Yeah, maybe this is for tomorrow, but it would be good to get deeper explanations on where you put your stop loss on trades where it is less obvious. For sure, Tag. Yeah. For me, I'm just going to be placing it under any significant low or inefficiency that would switch order flow or market structure. Okay? So in this example here, in my opinion, if we get it close below this low, that switches market structure bearish, right? And so the idea here is, okay, throw the stop at the low with the assumption that the low gets closed below and then market structure shifts bearish and then we get order flow shift bearish, right? Obviously that didn't happen and it was unlucky that this is like that one scenario here where price ends up holding this and it ends up working for a break even at least. But yeah, that's the idea, is anytime you're placing a hard stop, it should be at a location where if price were to violate your hard stop, it switches order flow from your intended direction of where you want to see the market go, or market structure. Does that kind of make sense? I know it's like a lot to kind of digest, Tag, but yeah, we can definitely talk about that on a different day. Manual stop effects we put hard stop? No. Nah, manual stop is always going to be the close back above or below the IFG, because that's just like playing statistics. But yeah, hard stop should always be at a low or high where market structure or order flow is going to change. So right now, the market structure shift for this long would be at the low, where we get a close back below. Actually, technically, there's no market structure shift here because we're just bearish on the market structure. So if we hit the low, it would just be confirmation that market structure is still bearish. And if we take this high, then that's us saying, okay, market structure is now bullish, right? Yeah, jiu-jitsu, of course, right? And so that's why you have to be kind of careful with some of these plays, right? Where the stop loss is so big on the hard stop that it's just like better to like maybe not take it, right? Or like size down like I did, right? So I only took that with 2 micros, knowing that if like the manual stop got hit, okay, I risk less than intended. If the hard stop gets hit, okay, I realize, you know, I hit my max loss, which is still 1R, right? By the way, this 2-minute long is kind of doing its thing right now. Does it make sense for price to come back to our entry at this point with the 2-minute long before hitting this high? That's the question you have to ask yourself if we're in this long. I don't think so, right? We should just rip up through this last gap in the leg. So maybe since we've put in this order block now, and price should respect the order block plus the FEG here, you just go break even now versus hitting the high. Does that make sense? Like, who in this long was waiting for this high to get hit before going to break even? What if we inverse the second 5-minute and get a CISD pullback for a confirmation setup to data highs? Well, then you get stop break even, I guess. But like here, I feel like price should not violate this order block that we put in. We came back, we swept at a low that's inside of a fair value gap. There's really no reason why price should pull back here. So I think if I was in this long, I would just be break even. You know, we're up 20 points from the entry. Bro, stop. Okay, dude, you can't send stuff like that and then expect for me not to say anything. So there would be like the break even, I guess. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we end up holding the 2 minute and we're just manipulating before 350. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like when we create an order block here, we should just respect it. Yep, Dre Brown, yep. Is this bad to see? Yeah, I think so. That's why I said you should be break even. Because you just should see price just displace here and hit the high. Like, we shouldn't pull back a third time here. How long did it take you to become profitable from starting to learn how to trade? From starting to learn how to trade, like when I was first learning options, it took me like 3 years. But when I started learning futures, it only took me like, I don't know, 6 months. What was that? What is that? Oh, I was so confused. I was like, who put that in here? I thought maybe it was a present for you. I was like, nobody has been. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just wrapping up right now. Alright. I'm in my 6th year. I think I need to throw in the towel. No, I mean, I don't know. 6 years is kind of crazy, but like, if you got nothing better to do, why give up on it? You know. Just change your approach. Maybe don't give up. You know. You think we're not hitting the high because market is closing soon? No, actually, I think during 350 is where we'll see this expansion. By the way, my girlfriend's in the room right now, and it's her birthday on Friday, and she probably won't have a chance to see this. So, do you guys want to just throw like a happy birthday message in the chat so she can read it? All right, cool. She says thanks. But yeah, we got 350 here in about 5 seconds, so. All right, let's see. So Vert is saying we are going to respect this trend line here. This is a classic 2 touch point rejection trend line. Okay, okay. So because this 350 candle is kind of forming like a doji, I actually don't really think 350 is going to do too much for us here. No, like, okay, this is the craziest thing ever. So, like, really, really easy, like, trading concepts, like trend lines and stuff, used to work way better because a lot of old trading strategies that people used and were profitable with got arbitraged out by, like algos and stuff, like, as they got created in, like, the 70s and 80s and 90s and whatever. And so, like, I forget who it was, but there was this one trader who like used like a really basic strategy for trading, like EMAs or something, and then he ended up like becoming like basically like a billionaire off of just like very simple like trading concepts. I forget where I saw the story. It might just be a story, but yeah, basically like any profitable trading concept has like a very high chance, if it becomes like mainstream, of being arbitraged out by like algos. What is that? Mata, is that a $25,000 teddy bear? Or is that your currency? What is 25,000 AED to USD? 7,000, dude, I'm not buying a $7,000 teddy bear. Oh, it's made of roses? wait, that's kind of crazy. Who am I? Who am I? Kanye? Isn't that what Kanye did for Kim? He bought like 250,000 roses or something. Maybe protector. I don't know. Hold that for a divorce. Yeah, let's see. Actually, wait, no, I don't want to look up anything related to Kanye while on stream. Reliable is just 1 hour. True. Yeah, profitable. I did. I took that as a loss, and then I took the short as a win. Oh man. Wait. X marks the spot. Here we go. This is where we'll take our play. But yeah, who was the one that said like usually we form trend lines after Trump? Was that you, Protector? I don't know. Well, 350 hasn't given us anything, so I think I'm just gonna end the stream here. Wait, dude, I'm not waiting. I'll throw it in the chat after if you're right. All right.